Let me present to you two premises, 1, 2, that you've heard from me on multiple occasions throughout the years, boiled down to their very simplest form. Premise number 1, God isn't real. Premise number 2, social justice warriors are often stupid and usually hypocritical. Now, my professional life, if you could fucking call it that, for the last 10 years has been devoted to advancing arguments towards these two simple premises. I don't think I need to belabor again the reasons why these two things have so centrally preoccupied my mind for so long. Suffice to say that I view both religion and social justice warriors as socially detrimental powers, in many ways at war with one another, but in many other very important ways identical to one another. Because both religion and SJWs ask that their adherents discard reality in favor of nonsense. Both shame sexuality unless it exists in their very narrowly defined, approved context. Both divide people against one another with purity tests and conflicting interpretations of purportedly righteous fucking edicts. In the case of religion, handed down from God himself. In the case of feminism, handed down from the goddess Gloria Steinem. Oh, Gloria! Gloria! I think they're both worthy causes to fucking go after. I believe in what I've said about religion and what I say about SJWs, but I've moved on from religion 3 or 4 years ago, if you really look at my content. Now, I've done the occasional video on it here and there, but for the most part, I leave it alone these days. And it's not because no one wants that content anymore, or because everything that, it's because everything that needed to be said about it has been said. The subject has been discussed to death. Atheists threw down the fucking gauntlet with the 4 horsemen and shit, and religion really had no fucking answer back. And, now religion's in decline. In a few generations, it may be all but gone. Team Atheist really won that argument in a big fucking way. But then a new opponent emerged. As the two sides of the atheist and skeptic community fractured into, they weren't even two sides at the time. They were one side. They fractured into two different sides over really gender issues. It became feminists versus anti-feminists. And this one I'm not as confident about us winning. And I knew when we started that it's a tough challenge. It's a difficult one to really overcome. And I know that some of you think that because Trump was elected president, this represents like this big pushback against feminists. But I mean, you're fools and you're fooling yourselves. It's only emboldened the SJWs further. That's why more people showed up to protest Trump than showed up to inaugurate Trump. That's why his inauguration was just this downright gloomy and depressing affair. It looked like fucking America's funeral. Look at the faces in the crowd. They're all like this. Meanwhile, the Women's March, now you can say what you want about that bullshit and its message or whatever, but you gotta give it one thing. It was lively. Those motherfuckers were setting things on fire and getting in fights and screaming and chanting and yelling and ranting and raving. Passion! Passion! Their outrage machine, the SJW outrage machine, dominates mainstream discourse, and the pushback against them is almost entirely obscure underground bullshit. Some of the alt media, some YouTube channels, some forums. Oh yeah, well, they got the mainstream media in Hollywood and they control the public discourse, but we could go on this internet forum and fucking tell them what for. They don't give a shit. They don't give a shit. Big fucking deal. They don't give a fuck. You can lose your job for an off-color joke. Like, remember Donglegate? That's a reality for so many people in this country. And in my video, getting 1 million views, good, it helps me, but guess what? It doesn't help that fucking guy. Doesn't help the guy who gets accused of rape because he touched the breast of a woman that he had just had sex with earlier that day, which is a real case, by the way, that I just read about. He stopped immediately. As soon they were fucking. And so they were fucking in public. And some dude walked by and saw him and went, oh, what the hell? And they stopped. And then later that day, he touched her boob. And she said no, and he said, okay, I'm sorry. But 16 months later, she filed rape charges or made a formal accusation or whatever. At some point, do we just have to ask before each fucking thrust? Can I thrust again? Okay. Oh, can I thrust again? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Can I thrust again? Nah. Oh, oops. I'm sorry. Rapist! You just raped me! Fuck. No wonder people in Japan are marrying pillows. Pillows can't say no. I gotta be honest with you, I'd rather just jerk off than fuck a pillow. And it's not even a matter of dignity, just a matter of not wanting to have to constantly clean the pillow. I mean, the flakes, you could probably remove those with a spatula, but you know it's gonna need like a good deep cleaning at least once a week, or else it's gonna get too gross to fuck and bugs start living in it and shit.
Dude, the robot will do that.
Oh, the robots. Yeah, your robots will clean the pillow. Fuck it, if you got robots, you just fucking get a sex robot. Self-cleaning. Fuck that bitch. Get in the fucking, go clean yourself. Sex bot. Piece of shit whore. Don't worry, I programmed her to like being talked to like that. That's until the feminists take him away. This demeans women. I feel like too many of my contemporaries out there, my contemporary anti-feminist, anti-SJW, whatever the fuck we want to call ourselves, I think they think they can win this by moving backwards. Like we can undo what the feminists are doing. Like society has a reset button. I mean, yeah, I guess it does. They pushed it, that motherfucker in Iran. Didn't work out so great for them. You see pictures of people in Iran in the 70s, they're dressed like people were dressed in America in the 70s. You seen how they're dressed now? Religion had a big part in that. Religion had enough of being pushed aside by the Iranian people, and it decided to push back. And when it did what religion always does. Oppressed everyone and turned everything into fucking shit. So maybe there is a bit of a reset button, but it can be a pretty testy little button. And you probably ought not fucking push it. But what you can do with people is show them a different vision of the future. Because really, when you think about it, every ideology that exists is really selling a vision of the future. Feminism and SJWs in general are selling a vision of the future where women and other minorities are free from all burdens and nothing even vaguely approaching the realm of sexism or racism ever happens again. Not to them anyway. In many versions of their future, all the white men are dead. In all versions of their future, they'll wish they were. Christians, now they're a different story, but they'll tell you that the world is inherently just a pile of shit, and that only through the love of Christ and through giving money to religious institutions can you ascend to the next life, to a world that isn't inherently a pile of shit. No one's ever credibly confirmed that this place exists, but trust us. We got an old book, a spooky wookie woo, tells us so. Muslims, pretty much the same deal, just a marginally different God and an even nastier fucking book. So what's my vision for the future? My vision for the future is, let's not wait until we die. Let's not wait until we die to go to heaven. Let's bring about paradise on this earth using science and technology And most implausibly of all, the brotherhood of all mankind, where no one wants for anything and everyone is free to determine their own path in life as long as it doesn't directly encroach upon the rights of others. If someone wants to be a transgender werewolf-kin, I say let them do it. If someone wants to make fun of how fucking gay and lame the transgender werewolf-kin people are, I say let them do it too. I don't think those are the arguments that really matter. But when huge percentages of the population deny science or make up their own facts, that matters. Because guess what? You can live in a functional society alongside a transgender werewolf-kin in a democracy if they at least know that climate change is a real thing with huge mountains of empirical data backing it up. And then they know that Alex Jones is not a reliable source of fucking information. People kept asking me during the primaries, how can you support Bernie Sanders when he's an SJW? Which is honestly, in my opinion, a stupid fucking question because I supported him on raising the minimum wage and making our country competitive again by making college free with new taxes on Wall Street speculation, breaking up the big banks, launching universal health care, raising taxes on people making over $250,000 a year, dismantling the military-industrial complex. By the way, even if I only agreed with him on one of those issues, I would still have supported him. Even if he was the biggest fucking SJW on planet Earth. Because all of those things are more important to me than me being able to fuck on some not even close to passing pseudo-tranny who thinks that misgendering is a form of violence. But the social justice warrior vision of the future is bullshit. It sets people against each other. It fosters racial divisions, gender divisions, and a whole bunch of other really nasty, horrible shit. It reduces us all down to an identity that's not based on our uniqueness as human beings, but a set of superficial variants, such as our genitals, or at least our gender identity, or our skin color, or our sexual orientation. And those aren't the things, people, that really fucking matter. The things that really matter are making sure everyone has food, clothing, and shelter. And I'm not saying everyone should be living the high life, because some people clearly do have more to contribute to society than others. But when I go into an American city, I shouldn't see rampant homelessness and tent cities and decaying buildings. And no one should be dying of treatable disease. And no one should be getting raped or murdered or stolen from. And some of this you can fix with laws. And some of this you can fix with education. And some of this we're really gonna have to think outside the fucking box to fix. But we are human beings, and we have shown a remarkable ability to control our environments. But there has to be a vision. There has to be an ideal. There has to be a picture in our heads about what kind of world it is that we want. And it can't just be a fantasy that only happens when you die. And it can't be a world where men and white people are held to a higher and altogether different standard than everyone else. And it can't be a bridge back to the past, some futile fucking attempt to recreate what once was. I mean, it has to be a bold, new vision of a better world than any of us has ever experienced. And any move that we can make that even puts us an inch closer to that, I want to be a part of that. But if we're not going to move in that direction, I'm happy to not participate. I'm happy to watch various ideologies do battle for supremacy, all the while knowing that most of them do not represent issues of substance or weight. America wants to argue about transgender bathrooms and flag burning. And most of all, they want to talk about Trump, Trumpity Trump, Trumpity Trump. Guess what Trump did? Guess what Trump said? Ooh, Trump did this, so he's bad. Trump said this, so he's good. Trump appointed Skibbity Gibbet to be the secretary of Fliggity Blibbity Blibbity Blue. And that's gonna lead to the fucking apocalypse. Oh, what a fucking scam, ladies and gentlemen. Trump said on the campaign trail, on the debate on national TV, as a matter of fact, he's gonna throw Hillary Clinton in jail. Well, you know what? Shortly after his inauguration as president of the United States, he led a standing ovation for Hillary when she showed up at one of his inaugural balls. Yeah, I'm gonna put her in jail. Actually, I'm gonna give her a fucking standing ovation. You think he's legit? Give me a fucking break. He's a politician, and he did what he had to do to beat Hillary, and now her crimes don't seem so serious anymore. Now, maybe she deserves a big old round of applause for being such a good sport about him gut-fucking her to death in front of America and the world. To me, looking at Trump, I just see the continuation of the pageant that the elites have always used to distract us from our own interests. It's all part of the program.
Democrats, Republicans, Democrats, Republicans, Democrats, Republicans.
And imperialism keeps on going. And the military-industrial complex keeps on going. And Wall Street greed keeps on going. And the mega banks keep on going. And homelessness keeps on going. And pollution keeps on going. And the drug war keeps on going. And mass incarceration keeps on going. And all the real problems that afflict this country like a fucking cancer keep on chugging along. The cancer keeps growing. And it's eating at the soul of this country, and people look for scapegoats, and they look for band-aids, they look for big, flashy, distracting issues to keep their minds off the insurmountable mountain of shit that stands before them, even as the stench of it poisons their day-to-day lives in profound and horrific ways. And I'm not above it. I'm not even close. I don't devote my life to making a difference in the world. I devote my life to entertaining myself and my audience. Lofty, important goals for the future of humanity are above my pay grade and beyond my comfort zone. I'm happy to keep making videos about stupid feminist comics and morons on Twitter and whatever else I can make fun of. Not only do I find it fun and entertaining, but also I find it important. But for some of you, it seems like it's become the most important thing there is. And I'm here to tell you that while it's fun to talk about, and it's certainly not an unimportant subject, there are more dire problems facing humanity than SJWs. They probably don't even crack the top 10, to be honest with you. And I think it's because of this that some other people have also had the opposite reaction and started to say that anti-SJW content has become stale. They feel like there's more important things going on and that the subject matter should be taken out to pasture, just like the subject of religion. But let me remind you of something, okay? Let me remind my viewers of something here. My channel isn't about addressing the problems of the world in order of severity. My channel is about entertaining you guys by destroying the shitty arguments of fucktards. That's what I do. I take bad arguments, I deconstruct them, I show you their flaws, and hopefully at the end of it you had a good time and you liked what you saw. Religious people and SJWs are easy pickings for me. They make terrible arguments, stupid arguments, laughably bad and infinitely mockable fucking arguments. That's why it's so much fun to destroy them. But that editorial process of what's the most entertaining thing to argue with is miles away from what's the most important thing to talk about. I made my choice on this matter. I want to have a fun channel where I tear apart retarded bullshit for your amusement. That's what I want to do. And that's what you want me to do, according to every actual metric that can be fucking quantified. But I do agree that the SJW shit is getting mightily played out, and I do plan to scale it back and find some other things worth delving into. I'm very interested, for example, in going after the ideas of these nutty conspiracy channels and alien channels and ghost channels on YouTube. I do also plan to make some more political content in the months to come. But the focus of what my channel is will always remain the same. I'm going to take on stupid bullshit wherever I see it. If the source is religion, I'll attack religion. If it's SJWs, I will attack SJWs. If it's right-wingers or left-wingers or whoever it is, I will fucking attack. Now, I know this video hasn't been tremendously focused, But I hope that some of the ideas I presented were relatable to you in some way. If not, hopefully I'll have better luck next time. And if you did enjoy this or anything else I've made here on this channel, I'd ask you to subscribe and rate. And most importantly, share this video. Thanks. I'm the Amazing Atheist. Peace the fuck out!